Retail guy, positive on retail, Stacey. Are you?
Absolutely. I think the top line this holiday season is going to be incredibly strong. And for all those reasons that Brian Cornell just said, which is clearly unemployment, the consumer confidence, everybody's out there and they're spending. However, from an investment perspective, a lot of these companies are seeing higher costs, including labor costs. And certainly Amazon had a play there in coming out and saying, hey, we're putting the floor at $15 an hour. So there's going to be some cost pressure, but I think the consumer is definitely out there spending.
Yeah, definitely out there spending. I mean, I guess the question is, and you've talked to this, but we're going to talk more about it as we get closer, where are they going to be spending? It's not, we know they're going to spend more. The question is, who gets the money?
Yes, and I think Target is probably one of the top beneficiaries. Not only are they actually finally getting the 2-day shipping and finally competing with Amazon, but their private label brands are really resonating with the consumer. And again, you know, you look at Walmart and Target, finally, this is the first year they're actually competing with Amazon. It's such a game changer when you order a product and it hits your doorstep within a day or two. And then you start thinking, wow, you know, I don't always have to go to Amazon. So I think Target's a top pick. I think, you know, certainly we're seeing Sears' demise, which is going to accelerate, you know, some of the pressure at JCPenney, because you're going to see all these malls with dark anchors, and JCPenney has the biggest overlap.
Do you think there's anything that's, I don't know, people like, we heard a guest earlier say that people like to do new things, right? He was talking about investing, but I think people like to do new things when it comes to shopping as well. Do you think there's any kind of risk of Amazon fatigue? It's a great company. No one's knocking Amazon, but people like to try new things. You think there's any Amazon burnout factor at all?
I think that, you know, the good news is that I think the consumer is discovering new things in the mall, and some of that is driven by a lot of new concepts and even pop-ups that are really a lot of fun and pretty cool. So I think the malls are trying new experiences and things to drive the consumer back in. So in some respect, yes, I do think there is a potential for a bit of Amazon fatigue, and the consumer, our nature is to go into the stores and touch and feel and discover. So I don't think that's ever going away. And now we're seeing a bit of a resurgence in terms of traffic.
Okay. I teased it earlier. I don't know if you heard it from your disco/library, wherever you're coming from here this morning.
I didn't win the lottery.
Daigu, Chinese word for buying on behalf of. Why are you talking about this?
Daigu is the word of the day, and that is what is putting pressure on luxury here. So LVMH was the first to come out last week and talk about the fact that, you know, half of Chinese consumers get their goods and they bring them in from out of the country through buyers that basically go to Europe and buy the products cheaper. They're about 30% cheaper in Europe versus China. So there's a whole market for this. And guess what? The Chinese government is now cracking down on that. So that is a game changer. If all of a sudden the Chinese now need to buy the product at home and pay up for it. So that is what has sent a ton of shock through the luxury sector. And that's why these stocks have been obliterated. Yeah,
and do you expect to see, the stocks are one thing. The stocks are supposed to lead what we do. Do you think it's going to really be that grim in sort of the Chinese retail market this year?
I don't, actually. I think a lot of this is overblown. And we always hear, whether it's tariffs or governments cracking down on showing wealth, whatever it is, you know, these things come in waves and there'll be short-term shocks. But for me, this presents an opportunity to buy brands, the best brands out there that you think, and I would throw in Tiffany and I would throw in LVMH as the top two that you want to take advantage of Daigu and start to pick up those names that have really been dragged down.
Okay, we're watching Daigu, and if anybody's out there, the crossword 6-letter word meaning buying on behalf of with an A as the second letter, you set them up. They're going to finish that New York Times crossword this morning, Stacey.
The word of the day.